open it up for questions from there.
Well, it's an absolute honor to play in the Gronk Bowl. Big fan of Rob, and I think it is special that he's the first player to have a college bowl game named after him. But it's really exciting for our team to be in Los Angeles, and the people at SoFi have been fantastic in the time. And I know our guys have had a great week, and the bowl people have been fantastic. Our kids have been juggling finals, so we were kind of going back and through a couple things logistically, but the people that run the bowl were fantastic, and we're excited to play against a really good team in Boise State, who just won the Mountain West Championship. So I think it's going to be a heck of a game tomorrow.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys a ton for being here. I know our team is extremely excited and been through a lot this year, and being able to finish it against a great opponent, Coach Kelly, the UCLA Bruins, is going to be an awesome experience for our players, especially with our roster. A lot of our kids are from Southern California, so it's been awesome to be down here practicing. A lot of the parents are able to come through and see our kids, but just being able to finish this the right way for our university, for these seniors, it's been something we've been working our tail off, so excited for it. And great environment. It was awesome to meet Gronk earlier today. He's a lot bigger than I even thought. And our players, when he walked up, they started taking a bunch of pictures. So just that experience alone is just worth all of it. So really excited for our players.
Spence, you guys ended a tough year last year with a win in the Frisco Bowl. You have a chance to end another tough year with a win in the bowl game. So what impact did you see that Frisco Bowl have on this season, and how important is it to end the year on a high note like that?
Yeah, every year at Boise State, I'm sure Coach Kelly has the same for his team, is to win the Mountain West Conference Championship and a bowl game. And being able to win the last one's a huge deal, not even just for recruiting and going forward. There are multiple players on our team that are not going to play football after Saturday. And so being able to finish that the right way for those guys, wearing the blue and orange for the last time, that's the legacy we want to finish. And I know Coach Kelly and their team is going to feel the exact same way. So that's the importance of this bowl game. One, it's another game we can play together. It's another game we can represent such a great university. But for our seniors, finishing the right way for them is a huge deal to us.
Coach Danielson, how does it feel knowing that the Mountain West has never lost his bowl game? And Coach Kelly, obviously Latu's not playing, but Boise State has one of the best edge rushers in the country, and Ahmed. So how has it been for you kind of game planning against him this week?
Well, that's a first. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a new year, and what's happened prior to this is really irrelevant for our team in this matchup. And the respect we have for Coach Kelly, his team. I mean, you talk about a team that's going to be disciplined, play together, extremely talented, and they're going to be very well coached throughout the game. So we know it's going to be a huge challenge. We're excited for that. I know our players are excited for it, but we know the task at hand on Saturday.
Jay, me? What was the last part of the question?
How does it feel? Like obviously Latu's not playing, but how has it been for you game planning against Ahmed from Boise State? He had 12 and a half sacks this year.
Oh, yeah, he's an outstanding football player, and I think they do such a good job on the defensive side. Spence obviously leads it, Eric Chenander, and that whole group over there, and they put their players in positions to make plays. So we have to know where he is on every play, and we need to be aware of what we're doing in our protections, because if you have 12 and a half sacks in college football, you're a really good player, and we know he's a really good player.
J-Test, KTVB. Spencer, you are breaking in a new quarterback conveniently for the final game of the season. What have you seen out of C.J. Tiller this week, and have you made a final decision on who's going to be under center snap one tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, C.J. Tiller will be our starter on Saturday, and he's earned it. He's had a great job the past couple weeks in practice, and he's not going to be perfect, but he doesn't need to be, and that's the biggest thing with him. And our offensive staff's putting a great game plan together, but we got to keep him in good situations too. And we know the defense we're going to be playing, they're going to be well coached, they're very talented, but we got to put CJ in the right spots. But he's done a great job, and he's got a lot of good pieces around him. We got to play together, and when you play a great opponent like we're playing on Saturday, we have to play complementary football, special teams, offense, defense. But excited for CJ. He's had a really good week of practice. He's done a great job controlling what he can control. He's been prepping, and we talk all the time about earning the confidence to play well, and he's earning that every day, every practice, every snap, and so he's had a good week.
Bob Beeler, Boise State Radio. This question is for Coach Kelly. Your numbers against the run have been outstanding. So why have you guys been good against the run, and what do you see as the challenge of slowing down Genty and Alani?
Yeah, I mean, that is the challenge. They have two outstanding running backs, and it's really schemed up really well too. So we have some talented players on our side of the ball, and our defensive coaches have done a good job all year long of of putting those guys in positions to make plays. But I think it's going to be a strength against strength, so that's going to be a big test for us tomorrow.
Tracy McDaniel, BroomBlitz.com. Chip, what's the latest that you have on Carson Steele and his availability for this game?
All of our availability, Trace, as you know, will be done on Saturday morning. So do you want me to finish it? Or because you know it's going to be done on Saturday morning when we meet with our trainers and do our final depth, and we'll get all that stuff tomorrow morning. So
Chip, you heard him talking about C.J. Tiller. What's that like for you on the other side, the guy that's never thrown a college pass, starting in this game and kind of the unknown there?
well, we know who he is. He's a local kid from Southern California, and obviously really talented. So we understand his skill set. We watched him play in high school. Very talented player. And Bush does such a great job with their scheme. And they also have talented running backs around him and other people around him. So, we've had to play multiple quarterbacks this year also during the season. So I know what Spence is going through, but I know they're going to do a really good job, and he'll be prepared to play in the game tomorrow.
Coach Kelly, how you doing? Mike Regalado, Bruin Report. With with a handful of coaches and players not available for the game, did you have to restructure your offense and defense, or do you have
We did.
plenty of guys?
We're going to run the wishbone. I just letting Spence. I'm giving 24 hours just to make sure
Love
he's
it.
ready to handle that. And
We're
then
triple
we
option.
changed the entire defensive scheme because when our defensive coaches left, the new guys wanted to do a lot of different things. So no, we obviously we have a couple of people missing, with Latu, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But everything is the same. Offensively, Ken Niumatalolo stepped in and coached the tight ends. I coached the quarterbacks. And then we were fortunate to have Clancy Pendergast, who's an analyst for us, and Greg Burns, who's an analyst for us. So that we just kind of plug and played with those guys in terms of putting them in. And our defensive staff has always game planned together. So I think they did a really good job this week of putting together a plan. And offensively, it was really the same. We just added Ken when we lost Jeff to the head coaching job at Austin Peay. So the biggest thing for us all week was really just finals, and just working around that a little bit. And we had a couple of days where we were missing certain kids at certain positions, but we worked around it, and we're excited to play this game tomorrow.
And obviously, this isn't just a regular game. It's now the Gronk Bowl. How's the energy with the players?
Yeah, they were excited, really, really excited to, for them to actually play here in LA. I think the first time for some of these guys to see this stadium, because we haven't played in it before. So to play in an NFL stadium is a real big deal for our guys. So they're coming in here, I think as we speak right now. So we have a walkthrough here this afternoon at 3:00, and then a team photo. So I know they're fired up to play in this game.
J-Test, KTVB. Chip, this one's for you. When we initially jumped on a Zoom call with you a couple weeks ago, Spencer Danielson still had the interim tag. You spoke very highly of him. Just curious, what do you base that off of? What is your connection with Spencer over his years, and do you still feel that way, obviously?
Obviously, I mean, he did an unbelievable job. I know he was the first interim head coach to ever win a conference championship, so I think that's to take over a program and then to lead them to where he's led them is a big deal. Spence has been down to our place. We have a bunch of Mountain West coaches that work our camp in the off season. It's a big recruiting camp, so we invite all the Mountain West coaches, whether it's Brent Brennan or Jeff Tedford or whomever, and they come down. So I've seen Spence coach, seen Spence in person. I know he had a great career over at Azusa Pacific. He's a local guy, so the coaching community is pretty small. And if you don't actually know the person, you're connected to a lot of people that do know the person. So I was really excited. I don't want to take credit. You guys asked me about the interim tag. I said he should be hired, and he got hired a half hour later. I don't know if that's a coincidence.
Give you full credit, Coach
I
Kelly.
don't know if that's a coincidence. But full credit means like an agent has a fee. So we can discuss that a little bit later
No
on.
question.
But
No question.
I think he's a heck of a football coach and did it. And you just watch the tape of what they look like since he took over, and it's impressive to watch. So I think he's a rising star in this profession.
John Worcester, Idaho Press. Spence, we know you're an emotional guy. With these seniors tomorrow, just not trying to make you cry again, but
I probably will. Thanks.
just talk about the emotions that are going to be, with those seniors and playing the last game with them tomorrow.
I'll probably be crying. For people that have heard me speak about our players in this senior class, there's going to be a lot of emotions, especially the ones that I know will be moving on and potentially never playing football again. Definitely not wearing the blue and orange again. So, and more than anything, it's just, how much they've done for this place, how much they've impacted me, DJ Schramm, George Halani, Garrett Kern, and I could go on and on. They all have just made their imprint on this university, made their imprint on me, and impacted me in so many ways. And so for them being able to take things that were not going our way as the season went and be able to finish it for each other and finish it for our team and be able to win the Mountain West Conference Championship and a chance to finish with a win in a bowl game against a great opponent and just be able to play one more game together, that's going to be emotional just even going into the game because it's the last opportunity we're going to do it together. I believe as a coach, and I told them this earlier today in the team meeting, it is my goal that their best life is still in front of them. I told them, if your best life is at Boise State, I failed you. Because the goal is to create a platform that they can grow and develop. Now, there's going to be memories that when you play football at Boise State, hopefully you have forever, no different than when you play at UCLA. But it is going to be different because I'm not going to see them all the time. And so it's going to be emotional for me knowing that God's best is in front of them, but I'm not going to be around them as much. And they've just had such a big impact on me and everyone they've been around.
For both coaches, obviously I say styles make fights. Both run the ball really well, play great defense. So what has it been like, during the week, kind of putting the game plan together, just from a competitive standpoint? Like, how fun has that been for you guys?
Well, I'll speak first. I mean, Coach Kelly does a phenomenal job, and we were talking as even a defensive staff and a whole staff, just being able to see how he's been able to work through guys being injured and create a plan offensively, and the whole team, but obviously focused a lot on what they do offensively. And it's been fun. It's been challenging. He does a great job creating matchup issues across the board, and so finding our best plan of attack as well. But it's been a fun week, but very challenging just because of obviously who he is and how well he's done it for a long time.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the game. What's going to happen, and the fact that it's the last game of the year and you have so much tape on them and they have so much tape on you of. I don't think there's going to be any surprises on either side just because we've played so much football this year. And they've played so much football this year. So our job has always been to put our players in position to make plays and then get out of their way and let them go play. So you don't want to complicate it too much for them. You want to give them a plan that they can be successful with, and then they got to go out and execute. So that'll be the fun part to watch tomorrow.
Lorenzo Reyna with College Football Network. This is for Coach Spence. I recall the time that you were at Azusa Pacific and rising for the ranks. And also I remember the team chemistry that you guys had at APU. How much did you bring that family atmosphere over to Boise State the moment you came in, especially now that you have the head coaching label now?
It's definitely nothing that I did personally. My time at Azusa Pacific, Victor Santa Cruz was the head coach, and there's a lot of coaches there, Bo Beatty, guys that changed my life. When I was coaching as a junior, or when I was playing as a junior at Azusa Pacific, we went and coached like a team camp at Hume Lake. It was run by FCA. And when I left that camp is when I know I wanted to coach. And this is a guy playing in Citrus College in front of 3,000 fans, feeling like I'm playing in the Rose Bowl, because you just don't know any different. And fell in love with not even the game, but just how much I was impacted by those coaches. And so really took it from them, and just that love for the young men and how to change their life through the vehicle of football. And then obviously going to Boise was impacted by so many coaches throughout the years. And so I'm a product of a lot of really good people putting up with me and building into me and helping me and being around great players that have impacted my life. So I'm blessed and humbled to be in this situation.
Coach Kelly, you, like Boise State, have used a number of quarterbacks this year. With Garbers, if he's the guy, what makes it different when he's in there versus with some of the other quarterbacks?
Yeah, Ethan's he has the it factor. He's been through a lot. He's been with us for a while. He's played games when Dorian was our starting quarterback, and Dorian had missed a few games, and Ethan always stepped up when that opportunity came. He's got a great command of what we do. I think everybody feels kind of calm when Garbs is in there. There's a rhythm to our offense, and you look at when we've been playing really well on the offensive side of the ball. Garbs has been the guy leading us to do that. So it's been fun to watch his growth as a person and as a quarterback, and we're excited to see where he takes us.
Tuning in with the LA Times, Chip, on Monday when we talked to you last, you said that you were going to wait until after the bowl game to search for the defensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. Do you have a plan for the tight ends coach going forward? Same
thing. So we took our guys that were on staff and basically promoted them for the week, and a couple guys, especially it started actually the week before because we had to put guys on the road because we were down coaches on the road. So The plan for everything was get through the bowl game, and then after the bowl game, we'll sit down and hatch out a plan. There's not a race. I mean, we weren't going to have anybody in place for the game, so we'll take our time. So.
And then you just heard Spencer talk about his senior class. What has this senior class meant to you, especially a guy like Kenny Churchwell, who's been here?
Yeah,
I
Church
believe
been here
it-
for a long time. Alex
Just as long as
Johnson.
you.
Alex Johnson.
right.
You know, Kenny's been here as long as I've been here. I think all of us, I think all people throughout college football, that COVID time, I think there was a bonding and a grouping, you know, and all these guys that weathered that storm. We're not playing. It's canceled. What are we going to do? Now it's back on. We're going to play games, but we're not going to have any fans. I think that time, although it was a very difficult time, I think it really, this team grew through that. You know, and I look at where we were then and where we are now. A lot of it had to do with those guys, the Kenny Churchwells, the Duke Clemens, Alex Johnson, some of those guys who have been around for a real long time. But then I think when you add guys like Darius, you know, who's in year 2, but it's his final game, you know, some of that group on defense have all been 2-year guys that transferred in a year ago. But now they're in year 2, and I think they've really flourished in that. So it's an extremely connected team, an extremely close team, and it always gets emotional. We have senior day, and I always, you know, they always ask you, are you sad on senior day? And I was like, I'm gonna see them tomorrow. You know, it's our last regular season game, but we knew we're going to a bowl game. So, but now there's a finality to it. So I think that's a part that you always want to send your seniors out the right way, and what they've given to our program has been something truly special.
Chip, you mentioned the way that Boise State's played since Spence took over the last 4 weeks. What specifically have you noticed once he took over in terms of why they've got a 4-game winning streak going here, and then what does concern you most about them?
I think they do the little things that you have to do to win football games. They don't turn the ball over. They don't have a lot of self-inflicted wounds. They play downhill football. They're usually not behind in the chains. You know, they're not in a lot of 3rd and longs. They're not in a lot of 2nd and longs. But they create a lot of 2nd and longs, and they create a lot of 3rd and longs. So I think it's really complementary football in all 3 phases, and that's a mark of a really good football team.
Coach Kelly, how does it feel knowing that this is your last bowl game as like a member of the Pac-12, and kind of what's going to be some of your lasting memories regarding this conference going into the Big Ten?
My honest is it's sad. Like, a bunch of people couldn't figure out how to keep this conference together, and that's sad. You know, this conference has been together since 1915, and that we're supposed to be the smart ones. You know, I heard Kirk Ferentz talk in front of Congress when they were talking about realignment, NIL, and he said we have to be the dumbest people in the world. You know, this is an amazing game, and we keep trying to screw it up. And I'm talking about the administrators and the coaches. It's on us. But the fact that there's not going to be a Pac-12 next year, the fact that Washington State is not going to be in a conference next year, the fact that Oregon State's not going to be in a conference is we failed. And our job is to create opportunities for student athletes to be successful, and we didn't do it. So, you know, we are on a path where we're going into the Big Ten, and we're excited about that there. But I think we all own part of what happened, and it shouldn't happen. And the fact that Oregon State and Washington State aren't going to play in a conference that's not right. You know, and the fact that there's not going to be a Pac-12, that's not right. But I didn't have much say in it either. So I got a lot of thoughts and a lot of ideas. Nobody really talks to me very much about that because they usually occur when I'm driving to work at 4:30 in the morning, and I got a lot of them. But I think we should get all the people that can affect this game because it is such a great game. You know, and they need to sit in a room and they need to figure this all out. They need to figure out transfers. They need to figure out NIL. They need to figure out conference realignment because it's all about the students, athletes, and we have to make sure that that's the North Star that guides us, is that the student athletes are the ones that this should be focused on, not TV and money. So.
And is there any hope that you might play like some of the future, like Oregon State or Washington State, maybe non-conference? That's kind of weird to say, but.
Yeah, it is weird to say, and I would love to play those guys. Again, we're in charge of getting first downs and stopping first downs, so there's not a lot of that stuff. I know we have a schedule for a couple of years, so we'll see what happens. But I would love to play. I think Corvallis and Pullman are 2 amazing places, and if you have an opportunity to play games there, you know that's what college football is all about. You go to play in Corvallis with that fan base. You go to play in Pullman with that fan base. That's an awesome experience for anybody to experience.
JTS KTVB, I'm actually going to switch up my question now, just because Chip.
Was that his question?
No, I was going to ask Spence a question, but you said that you might have some ideas. I know that picking one to attack in college football is almost impossible because there's so many. But what is the biggest issue that you might have right now, whether it be realignment, NIL, transfer portal? and what would your plan maybe be to try to solve it?
I think they're all a problem, and I think we need to have a conference commissioner. I think football should be separate from the other sports. Just the fact that our school is leaving to go to the Big Ten in football, our softball team should be playing Arizona in softball. Our basketball team should be playing Arizona in basketball. But because football left, and they're saying, well, how do you do that? Well, Notre Dame's independent in football, and they're in a conference and everything else. I think we should all be independent in football. And you can have a 64-team conference that's in the Power Five, and you can have a 64-team conference in the Group of Five. And we separate it, and we play each other. You can have the West Coast teams, and then every year we play 7 games against the West Coast teams, and then we play the East. So we play Syracuse, Boston College, Pitt, West Virginia, Virginia. Then the next year you play against the South while you still play your 7 teams. You can play a 7-game schedule. You can play 4 against another conference, another division opponent, and you can always play against one Mountain West team every year so that we can still keep those rivalries going. Not that I've really thought about this. Not that I've a lot of spent of time on this. But I think if you went together collectively as a group and said there's 132 teams and we all share in the same we all share the same TV contract, so that the Mountain West doesn't have one and the Sun Belt doesn't have another and SEC has one and they have another, that we all go together, that's a lot of games, and there's a lot of people in the TV world that would go through it. You can sponsor each one. Instead of calling it Group of 5 and Power 5, you can call it Amazon, Nike, bid that out to things. You can do a lot of different things. But I think if we still do the same thing and take all that money, and I would do this, and I think this needs to be done, that money now needs to be shared with the student athletes, and there needs to be revenue sharing, and the players should get paid, and you can get rid of NLI, and the schools should be paying the players because the players are what the product is. And the fact that they don't get paid is really the biggest travesty. Not that I've thought about it.
You need to get somebody on speakerphone on those 4:30 drives to work.
They should.
Spencer, kind of follow that up, I guess, not really. But the moment you remove the interim tag from head coach, I know you don't change, but how does your life change? And I assume there's got to be more handshakes and things like that that you have to do that might take you away from football, at least for a little bit.
I know, first off, Jay, I now officially have 2 suits when I used to have one that I bought because my brother got married this past summer. Probably a couple more pictures than normal. Kind of stay out of the limelight guy, but obviously having the interim tag removed, and then like coach has been involved, a lot of recruiting, a lot of different things going on. So haven't really had a moment to sit back much and figure out some of the different parts of it. Our coaches, our staff, our players done a great job because you go from winning the Mountain West Championship, being named the official head coach the next day, and then we're really into recruiting and kind of going through a lot of stuff. So it's been awesome, and the support at Boise State has been phenomenal. Bronco Nation's been phenomenal, but there's just been a lot of things going on quickly, working with our staff, keeping our players, finding the right ones to bring in, and then preparing for a great opponent. So a lot of different things. I know it'll probably sink in a little bit more as we move through signing day into Christmas break and then into the new year. And a lot in my mind, I'm a intense, energetic, go-getter guy. So my mind's going through, kind of like Coach Kelly driving in at 4:30, going through some stuff. My mind goes a lot of different things that I'm excited to do and change and impact. But right now we're focused on playing UCLA, and we'll get to a lot of those things.
All right, we have time for 2 more. One here.
Chip, just because your defense ranked not only in the Pac-12 but nationally, were you a little surprised that the Pac-12 didn't honor more on either the first or second team outside of Darius and Latu?
Yes. I mean, it is what it is, but we have some really, really good players over there, and it's tough, but, we try to worry about things that we can control, and sometimes those things you can't control. So, but I do think we have some good players that haven't got the notoriety that they need.
Coach Danielson, how does it feel knowing that after this season, pretty much the Mountain West is really the only major West Coast conference left? And rather than try to fill the void of the Pac-12, how is the Mountain West kind of go into the future as really the last bastion of like West Coast football?
Yeah, as a San Diego kid, like Coach is talking about, I grew up watching the Pac-10, then turned into the Pac-12, and the different Mountain West schools that's changed throughout the years. So obviously college football is at an interesting place with the conference realignment and some of the different things we're talking about, where now you've got West Coast schools that are in a more of a Midwest to East Coast conference. So it's going to be interesting where college football goes from here. I know for me, stepping in this role, it's control what we can control, like Coach Kelly's been talking about, because a lot of these things we as coaches are not controlling. Now, we control how we impact our players. We control the players we bring into our football program and how we impact them and grow them to be not only good football players, but more importantly, husbands and fathers later in life. So focused on that. The other stuff I can't control, I'm going to pray to the good Lord that we can continue to have an impact and make sure that this is an amazing game, that it will continue to be an amazing game to impact people and impact these men for the future, because that's everything. These 18 to 22-year-old kids are the future. And if we don't impact them the right way and train them up, then nothing matters. But I do want to see a lot of different changes, and we believe in God for those things to happen in the future.
Mountain West after dark. They take
8:30
potato.
kick.
You guys take it. You guys will take it.
All right. Thank you, Coach Danielson, Coach Kelly. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.